and good evening. I'm Melissa Idris. Welcome to The Future is Female. This is the show where we find the extraordinary in every woman. I'm delighted to introduce to you my guest today, Datin Sri Umayal Eswaran, who is the chairperson of RYTHM Foundation, which is the corporate social responsibility arm of QI Group. So welcome her to the show. Welcome, Datin Sri. Thank you so much for being with me today. It's good of you to join me on the show. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you for having me here. I'm quite excited to speak to you.
Okay, so for those who may not be familiar with RYTHM Foundation or QI Group, maybe you can start there. Introduce us to RYTHM Foundation, what it is, how it started, what does it do?
Okay, so the term rhythm itself stands for raise yourself to help mankind. So some people tend to think the rhythm music, but it's not. It's RYTHM. And so this has been the philosophy that's been driving the whole organization. And we are the social impact arm of QI Group. And we go into communities. We have been established since 2005. And we have been evolving. And today we are focused on three main focus areas: on education, empowerment, and environment. And our projects are focused on strategic partnership with organizations on the ground and with people. So, yeah, so we want to drive positive change in communities.
So 20 years ago you started it.
Yes.
Celebrating its 20th anniversary this year.
The company is 27 years old.
Congratulations. 20 years doing this.
Yes.
So this is your brainchild, essentially, your baby, I would say?
It was established under the company, but at some point I took it over. You know, I kind of said, this is something that I want to do. So about 2-3 years after it was established, I took it because you know how women are, right, Jack? If you don't give them, they'll take it and they will overhaul the whole thing and they'll run it. So I wanted something different. I wanted our every project to make a difference, make an impact, and change the mindset of communities that we are working with. So I took it over about 3 years later, and yeah, so I'm sitting here 17 years or so later as the chairperson of RYTHM Foundation. And why am I sitting at the helm, right? Because sometimes people look at it as because Datin Sri is as the helm of the corporation, so they think, okay, it's natural for the wife to take over the foundation. So for me, it's very personal and purpose-driven.
Why is it? Why is it personal for you?
Well, it's personal because I was brought up in a family where I was brought up in such a way to respect and to be sensitive to everyone around me, including the people who work, my helpers, you know, drivers, everyone. Now, I cannot be disrespect to them because my parents brought me up to say even they are also human beings and they have come to work for us, and if they're doing this job, it's out of necessity. So recognize that. You know, so from small, sometimes we are punished if we are rude to them or we say something harsh to them. And I couldn't understand at that point, right? I mean, you are a kid, you will not. But I realized when it came to a point that I had to take over the foundation and run it, I realized how my upbringing has helped me to do what I need to do for the foundation.
So talk to me about how your approach, how you've left a mark in shaping the foundation and the areas you focus on. You talked about education, empowerment, and the environment.
Yes.
So talk to me about how you pursue some of these social impact measures through the projects
that we have. Yes. So we always believe that, I believe that education is the catalyst for transformation, you know, and a lot of children fall through the cracks, and education is the fundamental right of every child in the universe, you know, and you cannot take that away from them. So based on that theory and what we believe in, we established about 14 years ago a school for children with special needs. It's called Tarana, and despite, you know, all the challenges that we have faced, it has continued to evolve today, and we offer all the therapies for the children, and it's individually developed plan for every child.
Oh, wow.
So we go at their pace, not at what we want to see in them, but to see how they can progress at their space. So despite, you know, the roadblocks that we have faced, the challenges that we have had to face, we have not given up on the school, because for me, I see the need in Malaysia.
If I may ask you to elaborate, where was the gap that you saw in terms of the need for special needs education?
So basically the gaps are, we don't have a resource like in Malaysia. You don't have a centralized resource per se, you know, where we can go and tap into. Let's say if you're looking for therapists, you know, if you're looking for teachers, you know. So I think there has to be a collective action plan for this, from government agencies, from NGOs, from businesses, from individuals, come together to see that these differently abled children and individuals are very much part of our community, and therefore we have to do something to collectively help them live a life. So for example, if a child is born and you realize the child is differently abled, how are we going to help that child go through that journey, get better, and you know, at some point teach soft skills to the child, and the child can go into some workforce and feel,
and be independent,
yes,
and have autonomy and an agency.
Yes. So
live with dignity.
Yes. So we are not there yet. I mean, so I think the awareness itself is not there for children, because a lot of parents feel you know, yes, I mean, and they find it difficult. Where do I take my child? Where do I go? You know,
I'm sure there are, you know, I think programs or initiatives or efforts by government and private sector alike, but it's very fragmented, as you said. There's no one kind of coordinating look at things. You mentioned a bit earlier, Datin Sri, that Tarana School has had many challenges, had many obstacles it's had to overcome. Can you share with us what kind of challenges?
So it's many pronged, because one is convincing the parents, you know, and because they want to see the development in child very quickly, like a normal child, because that's not going to happen. Then when we are looking for teachers, you don't see a lot of teachers who are trained in special needs. I mean, we are not talking training. We are talking. We are talking about the ones who have done a degree in special needs, and then we need occupational therapies. We need speech therapies. We need, you know, like behavioral therapies. And so we are looking at. So these are the gaps that we are looking at, because when we want to hire, then we have taken 4 steps, but we have to take 1 step behind, because we don't find the right candidates. So
are these still challenges you face today, despite how many years in operation?
It is still there. I would not say it has gone. Like you said, there is, I think, like private and government sectors are doing things, but it's very fragmented, you know.
And for private access, you have to have the resources and the knowledge to be able to access them.
So that's the challenge that we have today. When you want to go and look for let's say I have a 18-year-old and I want a safe space for that child to go and work, then, you know, kind of where do you go, right? So, so we have to start looking and doing this homework by ourselves. You know, it's not like it's there and then you can look at, okay, all these companies like private corporations who are offering safe space for differently abled children. So it's not.
So what have you learned over the years about building capacity of overcoming the challenges, right? So building the need for teachers and occupational therapists and convincing the parents and having the mindset shift of not looking at these children as less than.
Okay, so Tarana is one project of ours.
Yes,
yeah?
I'm getting focused on that. We'll move on to the others.
Because you are talking about capacity building, you are talking about challenges. So I'm going to talk about some of the other projects that we are doing, and I'm going to bring this as the general base of the challenges that we face and how are we doing this capacity building, how are we approaching these challenges. So another program we have, because we are also approaching International Women's Day, right? So we have a program called Maharani, which we have been running for 14 years.
Wow.
Okay, amazing. And I think I'm so proud of where we have arrived today. Because, like, if I can tell you, 14 years ago, I started with 20 girls in a home, and today we have arrived at doing like 4 schools in Selangor, 5 schools in Negeri Sembilan, and we are looking at another 5 schools, and we have different cohorts, and we have come out with models and we work with the ministry today, wonderful. And so I actually want to get this into the national curriculum as part of, for both girls and boys.
Can you tell me a little bit about the Maharani program?
Yes. So
how old are these Maharanis?
They are like between like 13 and 16.
Okay.
Because we want to get them young.
Yeah.
And
that's a pivot. That's a crucial age range. Yes.
And the thing is, you see, different communities, different challenges. Yeah. So we cannot do like one size fit all. So our program has also been evolving, right? Every year we change, we modify, we tweak it, and how we want to get it done. And we have to make it interesting for these girls, And they come, and you can see when they come, they are very wary, they don't know what is happening, and some of them don't speak, but when they go out after the programs, because we have a camp, we have a leadership program, we also have tuition for them, preparing for their exam as well, and so and also building because the inferiority complex of what the society puts on girls, Yeah, they kind of box you up and say,
At that age is where you learn your place in society.
Yes, it's the impression from your family, from
society.
From your society, from your community as a whole. It's an impression that's forming in you. So we are kind of trying to tweak it.
Is it building confidence?
We are trying to teach them. Yes, we are trying to build confidence. We tell them that you can do anything that you want when you go into the society. You can do well in your exam. Whatever you want to achieve, you can go out there and you can do it. So building that confidence. And we also have a learning lab, in PJ as well, where another 5 schools, girls from those schools come in. And it's also like a safe space. So we teach them like, on STEM. We are focusing on STEM as well. Okay. So we don't do any stitching, cooking and stuff that they do for fun. So, and then also on technology education as well, on AI, because that's going to be the future, right?
Yes.
And so we have been running that program, and that's going parallel as well right now. And we have another program where we empower youth through sports. So we call it Jagu RF, Champions of RF. And, so we go into the schools, we get these kids who are not doing well in their, school, academically. So we get them interested in sports, and and we also have a volunteering program with our staff who has to go and volunteer their time. So it's a very holistic approach to the company itself, because it is not about just going out there and empowering the community, because giving is easy. We want to empower them to help themselves, and become the champions of their community. They are the change makers.
I love that, but sometimes I wonder, or I think about how much social impact can come from these programs. It's really wonderful when we think about empowering young children and young girls in particular to live up to their potential. How do you think about what constitutes as social impact? How do you know when these programs have worked, have created some kind of social change within the participants?
So you see, so it's also, that's why every program, we do have the challenges. Then we come to the drawing board and we sit and then we look at, okay, what can we change? How do we approach? Because social change is about human beings. And we are very complex.
And it takes a long time to have any kind of social change.
We are the complex human beings. It's easy to train the animals. You know, we are very complex and we are very deep-rooted emotional baggages that we carry, you know, and especially when you go into these communities, you have to be very sensitive. So you have to have the buy-in. So what has taught us is to first go in and have the buy-in. So you can imagine us now, in the last 2 years, we have gone into the Orang Asli community. I mean, I think it's been for us an eye-opening and a life-changing effect for the foundation. Because, so we have gone into, first was Sabah, we worked in Sabah and we were working on a social enterprise for the ladies there and also for ecotourism for the youth. You know, when the foreigners come in, they take them through the jungle. And I was told yesterday, this Orang Asli youth actually, when they walk through the forest, and actually they can sense a snake far away and they can actually tell you to not go in that direction because there's a snake or there's, you know, something is there and go. So, you know that kind of...
This is indigenous knowledge that we should preserve and
celebrate.
celebrate.
The biodiversity is theirs, you know, and I think with modernization and everything, sometimes with technology, we have forgotten what it is to be with nature and be in the jungle, you know. And so we have, this is what we are doing, and we are working also in Pahang as well with the Batik community. And we are empowering the small kids with education. You should see them. We went and gave them the t-shirts and the shoes. And so we were starting with the small kids. We thought, okay, let's start with them. Then we saw this a bit, you know, older ones were standing at the door and peeping and, you know, wanting to come in.
Yeah,
it's that curiosity.
They're like, why only the little ones?
Why is only these guys? You know, can we come into? So we were like, okay, let them come in as well. So we realized, learn by. So we are not. We respect their culture. We respect their individuality. We don't shake that. So we go in and we help them with, you know, with building this education platform and also ecotourism and how we can help with livelihood.
Okay.
All right?
I really like that you said that you allow the communities to take the lead and show you what they need.
Yes.
As opposed to philanthropic initiatives or efforts being coming in, parachuting in and trying to solve the problems of the community. Tell me more about that. How do they communicate and tell you and show you what it is that they need, and how do you respond?
So we don't start the program for quite some time because we are like in and out, and we talk to the head of the village first. He's the first break-in for us because we have to go in and we have to start sitting with him and, you know, explaining. So I have a team of, so this corporate foundation has a team of 16 people.
Oh, fantastic.
Who just runs all programs and projects. And we are also, because we are a global company, so we also have global projects. And we have also projects in Malaysia. So we have 16 people, so I have divided them. And so they go in and out for the first few times. So you have to imagine, Pahang, first we have to drive there for a few hours.
It's
then they have to take a boat.
Challenging.
So they have to take a boat. Then they came and told me that, Datin Sri, you know, we need to build steps, because otherwise, like, we are going on our arms and legs climbing up, you know, because they don't have proper steps when you get down from the boat to go up to the village. So we had to build that, and we also had to buy them a safer boat, because these kids take the boat and they go to the mainland to the school.
For school.
You know, so that we had to make sure that it was safe for them. Right. So we listened to them, what they need, you know, these children, then what they needed. So sometimes we even do a medical camp, you know, a simple medical camp for them, for dental, you know, just a basic medical health. We talk to them about it. We bring the people in. So what we realized from all our projects is, because for me it's about sustainability and creating a lasting impact. So when I sit with my team and they come back from the monitoring visit, it's always like, so when we leave, because every program we do it, we handhold them, you know, we work with a local partner on the ground, but we are very collaborative and we are very involved. So we are not somebody who gives funding and then sit back and do a PR exercise, which I have said to many of them. So we are very collaborative and we are very engaging. So I always ask my team, when we leave, will they be independent? Can we create champions in the community so they are carrying on the work that we have done? And you can go and monitor on a timely basis to see things are happening. So, you know, it doesn't stop after the 3 years.
Well, it's so important to be able to build lasting capacity.
Yes.
So even after, say, the program has evolved or moved on or become something else, the impact remains. There's a legacy there that can still be seen. In the time that we have left, Datin Sri, I do want to ask you, I mean, I'm curious to know what's next. You talked about Maharani school program, you talked about the Tarana school.
Yes.
Orang Asli work, there was things with sports and young people. So what other avenues do you have your eye on next?
So I always say that, you know, we are only just one organization.
But it only takes one to make an impact.
I know. So what we want to do is we want others to hear, you know, that there is so many social issues that if we all come together, we can all make a difference. You know, so that's my message all the time, because right now we are doing what we want to do. Of course, even Tarana School, we have a bigger picture that we want to do, because we are looking at whether we can build a model school for children with special needs, you know. But that has taken us this long for us to think. And I believe that change begins with people, you know. So you must believe in the transformation before you can go into the community and transform people. So we have a lot to do, and I think we need government agencies, we need businesses, we need individuals, we need NGOs, everyone to come together, you know, to make this work, because it's a lot of work. There's deep-rooted issues, you know, in the communities.
Yeah.
And
because you want to make sure that it's not just short-term impact, but a systemic change.
Yes.
For everything. Datin Sri, in the minute or so we have left, do you have a message for International Women's Day for our audience at home?
I do. I always say that women no need to be empowered. I think we are born with that power. We just need to bring it out. And that cannot happen from without. It has to happen from within, because you must want it. You must be hungry enough wanting to bring that out. So even when we are serving in the community, which is my passion, and I always say, because it's not about giving, it's building. And it's not about the handouts, but it's empowerment. And it's not just the projects that we do, but it's about making lasting transformation.
Thank you so much for being on the show with me today. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
That's all we have for you on this episode of The Future is Female. I'm Melissa Idris signing off for the evening. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.